love that music so much. That music's called Neon Ice Cream, and it is so fun. I need to get better on my dial finger, though, on softening the music as we come back out. Welcome, everybody. This is the Stone Fruit Roll-Up. You are watching the show about building the show you're watching right now. We are live every Thursday on YouTube at Stone Fruit, and also on my personal LinkedIn page. I am Rebecca Gunter, and I'm so happy to be with you today. This is a really exciting episode because we're part twoing our impromptu discovery session with Melina that happened last week. So if you haven't had a chance to check out our live coaching session that happened last week, I'll make sure that the link is in the comments. Please be sure to do so because we met my new favorite person in the whole world, Melina Cordero, who is with me in Rise Together, the mastermind, with our shared business coach, Jill Mokes. And when I asked for volunteers, I need a volunteer for his tribute, to come on live and do some live coaching. Melina was the first to raise her hand, and that's a really fun session to watch. We did a big discovery as to what makes her business, who are her people, what do they need? Who is she? What does she deliver? Why is she special, different, or the one? So today, we're going to continue that conversation, but really around a positioning statement and some messaging that will help her build this brand. What is a positioning statement, and how is it different from a mission? What is a positioning statement, and how is it different from a mission or a vision statement? We will get into. So without further ado, I'm so pleased and honored to welcome Melina back to the Stone Fruit Roll-Up stage. A note for folks at home, this session is being pre-recorded as I'm flying to Dallas in real time, and therefore the comments won't get a response immediately, and we won't be addressing the comments within the recording. This is just me and Melina doing the thing, broadcast live, but other than that, au natural, no scripts, raw and unscripted. This is the Stone Fruit Roll-Up. Welcome, Melina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
That's the live audience at home. I know that's what they're thinking. I'm so happy to have you back because writing and crafting some different positioning statements for you has been super, super fun. I had a blast, like kind of exploring how can we talk about your thing, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how do we talk about it in a way that doesn't kind of center some suppositions about a dominant culture, and how do we do it in a way that isn't just like, you're doing it wrong, which I think we see a lot in the DEI space. So this was a lot of fun to kind of explore and think of new ways to talk about who you are and what you do, and through the magic of positioning.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the process because I do not enjoy writing about what I do or how I do it. It's onerous and tedious and painful.
I hope that this helps, because once you really have something to talk about, once you like have the words you've been craving, it's my big audacious goal that it will make your life easier, that talking about yourself will feel more natural. You'll be able to adopt these words and live the brand, which is why it's super important that we do it together in a co-creation or a collaborative space, rather than me prescribing a positioning statement to you. Like, well, Melina, you're struggling to make sure that you're in the right rooms with the right messages. And how do you pivot from one industry to another? If you don't know what we're talking about, please go back and watch last week. How do you do that and do it in a way that feels really right to you? So that's why we do this in this kind of collaborative space in which I'm doing a deep discovery, we're ideating, and then I'm coming up with 3 very different positioning statements for us to consider before we do. You had a question before we started recording today, and I think it's so important to the audience at home, which is like, what is a positioning statement? How do I use it? What is the difference between that and a mission statement? What is the difference between that and a vision statement? And why are we doing this work anyway? Question mark. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What gives? What the hell is this thing?
Right.
So a positioning statement, in my opinion, and look, just like just like flavors of vanilla ice cream, every brand strategist has a different idea about what is positioning and messaging. And every brand strategist has a different idea about what brand is. For me, when you've effectively communicated or you're living your brand, you're bringing your reputation to life in words, actions, and images. This is the words part. And also the actions, because like if you believe in the words that I'm about to kind of embark on you and you can really own them, then it kind of translates into actions and images as well. But this is the words piece of it. What's the difference between a positioning statement and a vision statement and a mission statement is a great way to frame like the real definition of a positioning statement. For me, a positioning statement answers the following questions. Who are our people? What do they need? Who are we? What do we deliver? And why are we special, different, or the one? In one sentence, answering all of those questions, which requires some really kind of nuanced language. It can be as simple as like, we are for dogs who need bones. We are the bone distributor for the North American region because all dogs deserve bones. Like, you can be that simple, but we all know, I think, that messaging that really resonates with our audience just isn't that simple anymore. Like, it's a modern world. We need nuance. We need something to believe in. We need some action. Oftentimes when I see other brand strategists or copywriters kind of like putting forth a positioning statement, the piece that's not included is the because only piece. And granted, it's really hard. Why are you special, different, or the one? Why should someone buy from you? Why you and not anybody else? That's very difficult to articulate. So I see some positioning statements that skip that part. But in my opinion, that is everything. That's the heart of it.
Wouldn't it be great if that were just obvious? Like, people just saw me and knew I was special? I mean, that would be really...
I see you and know that you're special, but you need words, and you need words that work.
Yes, I agree.
You're not the only person in this space. And if you were, I'd be nervous because the business model hasn't been proven. It has been, and you're here. How are we going to talk about you in a way that's different than the way that other people in this space are talking and give folks something to believe in? What I hope is moving forward that people look at you and be like, oh, you're the because only lady. Yeah, I'm the because only lady. And so that makes my competition irrelevant, which is really what we're trying to get to, is competition that is irrelevant. So it would be great. And let's keep working on that. And just to further answer your question, Melina, then a vision statement for me is really about like, how do you propose for this to happen? Like, it is a future cast where a positioning statement should be true, absolutely true today, and also a little aspirational. A vision statement is like future cast. So, for example, if you were a real estate company and real estate investment company, maybe your vision is to have to end houselessness in 2030. And that's because everyone will have rented from you or whatever. So that's a vision. And then a mission statement is to be the change that you want to see in the world. So that's the thing that you're actually trying to do. Okay. So, for example, my mission might be to increase opportunities and pathways for sovereignty for women by giving them their own means of production and controlling their economic power. Like, that's my mission, is like more women who don't have to be dependent on any kind of systems and can do things their way and make a fine living at it. That's my mission. Yeah. And then my positioning is really around words that work and why we need them and things like that. Yeah. And if I had a vision statement, it would be like, okay, well, I want an employee-owned company that brings creatives together from every medium and marketing avenue to collaborate on projects that are bigger than the whole they could do themselves. Bing, bing, bing. So what's true today, and also gives them something to believe in. Positioning. Who are my people? What do they need? Who am I? What do I deliver? Why am I special, different than one? Vision is like, what do I plan to do in 3 to 5 years? And mission is the change you want to see in the world.
Got it. Yeah, that's super clear. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Why go through the exercise of positioning statement? Now that we've talked about like what it is, why go through the exercise of it? Again, we need words that work. words that like immediately hit our people right where they live, but we can also adopt and start using, basically living the brand. If I give you a positioning statement that never leaves off the Google Doc, which happens all of the time, what's the point of that? Not really helpful to build a brand around what you identified or what we've identified together as being, again, who are your people? What do they need? Who are you? What are you delivering? Why are you special, different, or the one? So the point of it is to align you in the answers to those questions and give you the words that work, that people can believe in, including yourself, and also can be the foundation for any marketing strategy or plan that you put forth. Meaning, for example, if I'm writing a project, this is a really good example. I wrote the foreword for a nonfiction book about live streaming and digital media. Shout out to Ross Brandon, 100 Predictions. In order to do that, I wrote a positioning statement first about the book. And then I can write the foreword because I framed all the who, what, why, where, when, and how. And they should answer all those questions. So you can, a positioning statement is an internal thing, which is something I always forget to remind people. It's an internal thing. So it only matters to you that it's true. And then you can use it to, I mean, once you see your messaging spelled out, you can be like, well, there's my newsletter strategy for the next year. Here are all the topics I'm going to write about. Well, here's my website copy. My homepage generally starts with the because only section and then starts to like parse it all out. Now I can clearly talk to my people instead of just talking about myself as a business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like your internal compass that guides your external movement. And yes.
Oh my God, yes. Cut and print that soundbite. Jilly would call it a North Star statement, and
yeah,
it's really beautiful. Okay, so while we are just kind of chatting about this, I'm going to bring up our positioning statement in a window that I can share it with, and we're going to get into it. Are you ready for it?
I'm so ready.
Okay, awesome. I know. That's so good. And also, it's kind of deep work. So if you get in your feelings about it, it's absolutely normal. I certainly
don't have emotions.
Come on, girl. That's not your personal brand. Okay, so let's share this puppy in the old StreamYard. My StreamYard friends at home, you know the struggle is real to kind of present it and share your screen and figure it out and look like you're not looking at your computer, but here we are.
I mean, I would sing a little bit of like distracting background music, but that's really not going to help either of us.
I know your distracting background music is Let's Get Loud right now.
That, yes. I did decide that for everyone listening, my song of the year is Let's Get Loud by J-Lo. So,
so let's do it. So let's actually get loud. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, fabulous. So I am sharing my screen right now. This is a document. This is, if you got positioning and messaging work done with me, you would get a Google Doc that has 1, 2, 3 versions on it that are meant to triangulate our kind of full expression of the brand. So I try very hard not to duplicate like your job title or the who it's for or what it's going to deliver, to give us so many options. And that in that way, very unlikely that version 1, version 2, or version 3, and surprise, there's a version 4 because I really wanted to write a disruptor version. Very rarely is one of them like cut and print. We nail it. That's it. It does happen, but it's not common. What generally happens is a hybrid between kind of like the best of the best. So this process means right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read each version to you out loud. We've got a shared doc in front of us. It's on the screen share. And then also you've had access to this document in advance. So it shouldn't be a surprise. I'm going to read each one of these to you out loud and then just turn the mic over to you, Melina, for space for you to kind of like process and respond to these. And then the kind of work we'll get into is I'll come through each version again, and we'll highlight like what is absolute keeper. I'll highlight that in green. What's like close enough but needs some tweaks or changes, I'll highlight that in yellow. And anything that's a hard no is just as important as the hard yeses. That means, Rebecca, if you ever use this phrase or word in copy, you're dead to me. Like, do not use these words. So anything where you're like, I don't like that, I don't like how that describes me, we're going to color code it as a no. The last piece of just kind of pre-work that I'll give a disclaimer on is that it is so much more important to me that we have a beautiful positioning statement that you feel you can absolutely own at the end of this than I have any ego about how the words are written. So please don't hesitate to come back, give me pushback on something, because I really don't have ego in the game.
Okay.
Fair?
Very fair.
Okay, so we're going to read all 4 of these right now. Version 1, for proactive people who need to work well with others, Melina Cordero is the post-2020 leadership coach and total inclusion workplace environmental advocate who delivers the insights, approaches, and tools to help them better lead companies and conversations with team spirit and dynamic decision-making, because you're only as effective as your empathy and you're only as relevant as your relatability. I'm going to bring all these up a little bit, actually. Folks at home have something they can actually see. Okay, awesome. Version 2, for dynamic leadership teams, business builders, and organizational optimizers who need a company culture commensurate with growth, innovation, and resilience, Melina Cordero is the executive leadership coach, cross-cultural communicator, and workplace wellness advocate that delivers the learning strategies and leadership training to create positive and unifying experiences for everyone, magnetizing talent and tenacity so that we can all work together without frictions or fictions, because your diversity is your adroitness. Version 3, for nonprofits and impact organizations who need to make more of a difference in the world, Melina Cordero is the change management coach and inclusivity in leadership strategist that delivers executives, managers, and teams the assessments, tools, and guidance/gumption to generate growth by cultivating a culture of equality, accountability, and access, because when you invest in being uncomfortable, the payback is progress. All 3 of these, Melina, frame your work as, why wouldn't companies do this? It's their competitive advantage. If you want to attract more talent, you have to be healthy. If you want to be healthy, you have to have hard conversations. And so instead of framing any of these as like you're doing it wrong, which I see a lot in DEI space of like, we could be better. Come on, you guys, everybody try. Instead, we're framing this as like a competitive advantage for your organization so that you can align yourself with growth and innovation. And that wouldn't happen if you didn't have an inclusive workplace. So it's running towards something positive rather than punching down at something negative. Okay, I have one more. Ready?
Yes.
Here we go. I don't normally do a 4th version. I usually try and triangulate with 3. I think 3 is a very powerful number strategically, but I wanted to write one that was like saying the quiet part out loud. So I wrote it, and we're gonna just read it. And if you're gonna step into something this bold, fantastic. And if you're not, okay. And maybe there's some messaging. So humor me. For the differently abled, the neuro and or gender divergent, people of color, women, immigrants, and those of us, and those among us, and those among us carrying the load of societal grief and grit, who need a genuine champion to smash stigma and glass ceilings, shut down toxicity and trauma, and change conversations at work. Melina Cordero is the business and leadership coach that delivers the deliberate direction and post-2020 leadership coaching / training to progressive companies and organizations who want to do better by us, because perspective is power.
Very cool.
All right. So now we turn the mic over to you, Melina, and you have a minute to just react and respond.
Yes, there are definitely elements of each, right, that resonate. I would say the first thing is that I'm not a coach. So
thank you.
I'm not a leadership or transformation coach. I don't work, my services are not geared towards individuals, although obviously organizations are made up of individuals. So my sort of solutions or services that I offer are really geared towards organizational strategies, starting with leaders. So my belief is that if we want to change our organizations and change the way we work, we have to start with equipping our people with the tools and resources they've been lacking, the learning, the resources, the tools, strategies, things like that. And so that's the first thing.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, not at all. And I think it's tough because my work does overlap with it. I do end up in my conversations with leaders acting like a coach, right? Serving like a coach, but that's not what I'm selling, I guess is what I should say, right? But this work is very human. So there is an element of personal transformation that goes along with it. So it's hard to separate it, but because I'm not trained as a coach and I don't sell coaching, I would just, and it's such a loaded word these days too, coaching, that I don't really want to enter that space or confuse people. So that's as the first takeaway. The second one, where you mentioned before, positioning my work as something for that is a competitive advantage. I totally agree. And in the wording that I've used in the past 3 years is really trying to position it as I do things. I work with forward-thinking organizations. I work with forward-thinking leaders. So in the way that you talk about it, I think in version 2, where it kind of gets to it helps me attract the clients I want, which is the people who want to be on the cutting edge and think about that and believe that this is part of being on the cutting edge. So that really resonates with me. That's my who is this for? It's for people who don't just want to tick boxes. Right? They
exactly.
Want to
That's which was what I really liked in version 4, which is like who genuinely want to do better for us.
Yeah.
Want to do better by us.
Yeah. And the third thing I would say, and this is more of a question I have and a general thought, where, when we talk about, okay, I do DEI consulting, but like, what is that, right? Is that giving workshops, whatever? And I wonder whether I need to be clear that, look, my DEI work combines leadership and DEI and delivers customized sort of learning, and I equip organizations. So I go into an organization, identify where the weaknesses are, where the opportunities are, and I build you essentially a platform, whether that's strategy or the learning platform that I built to take you to the next level. And so I fear sometimes, because when we talk about DEI, it can feel so abstract to so many people who aren't immersed in this work, which is most people, right? Do I need to make it clear in how I talk about it that, this is how I do it, or this is what I'm providing? It's more of a question, because I don't know if that's something for a positioning statement or if that's more of a.
I mean, they certainly can be. For sure. Like, you don't kind of when I let them, like, 4 dogs who need a bone, we are the bone manufacturer. Like, it can add, generally number 1 is the most kind of like straightforward. So here we have like insights, approaches, and tools. It would be very easy to kind of modify that. I've done a little bit of modification where we're talking, which will help us, I think, kind of at least get these to the point of looking at them. So I changed coach to consultant here. I changed Customized learning platforms and leading edge solutions to this one here. I added forward thinking after dynamic in this one. Since we were very strong that those are our people. I added growth, a facilitator in this one instead of a coach. And in this guy here, a specialist. And in this one, an advisor. So there's some different words for us to play with, for sure. I think that kind of equip, and then I also added in version 1 who need to be equipped to work well with others. So I kind of added that piece in here based on your feedback, which is super important. Thank you for clarifying. You know, where we all come to the table, even somebody who's like, I do positioning all day. I also have my biases. Like I made an assumption that you were a coach without asking or even kind of verifying that. So that's why this is super important that this is co-created, not.
Well, and I think this is a particularly challenging space to write and talk about, as we talked about last time, right? This DEI, because it is human and personal and organizational at the same time. The other thing that I really liked, I think right there you have it, the post 2020 workplace. I think that's a really important part of my positioning, because in my opinion, and I'm biased because I'm immersed in it, right? One of the ways that I've tried to position myself as different is I'm saying, look, there are tons of people giving workshops and doing tools and platforms and all these things, but mine is built for a post 2020 world, which has very different challenges.
Correct.
Very different technologies. And so my stuff is built for a rapidly changing, very different world than we were 5 years ago. So I feel like that's an important point in my, why is my stuff different?
I agree that makes a really unique differentiator. Another thing I would add to that conversation about like what is the post 2020 workplace is how much, I guess I say progress, but that just like implies something linear, which I don't exactly advocate for. But I think there's been so much cracked open in the public discourse that was never cracked open before 2020. And I mean deconstructing, you know, the isms like deconstructing white supremacy, deconstructing capitalism, understanding the role of capitalism and white supremacy within corporate culture, deconstructing the patriarchy, people really pulling back the curtain on these kind of rather toxic systems that keep people like you and need to be in business. I'm sure you would really love a world in which no one needed you anymore for this work. They need you for something else. Because you fixed, you've smashed status quos and glass ceilings. You've shut down toxicity, or like all the kind of things we talked about in version 4. You've done that already. So I think it's really important to talk about that. My own personal journey in post 2020, what I learned that beyond anything else of deconstruction was how ableist I was. Like I really did not recognize how something as simple as saying, can I get a thumbs up from everybody in the Zoom room when one person doesn't have hands is ableist. Like I just didn't realize how in it I was. So I think that culturally it's like in the zeitgeist, or the phenomenon of us all unpacking and really being like saying the quiet part out loud, or like, you know, the expression that I love so much is like, let's be fucking for real. Let's be for real about what's keeping you in business, frankly, Melina. So a post 2020 world is important in that arena as well. Like this isn't 2018 when we all kind of didn't recognize the pillars of white supremacy, or we didn't talk so much about like how the return to work movement is really about the value of commercial real estate. Like those weren't things we were talking about. We would be like, well, of course you have to work because that's America. Now we're like, well, of course capitalism wants us to take $14 an hour jobs and try and have a family on it. Like, of course it's just such a different time. So I belabored that point.
No, but I think it's important, right? And I talk a lot about everything about work has changed since 2020, the why, the how, the where, the when, the what, you know, think about AI and how we do things. So everything has changed. And it also is really important to me because it's a really critical part of my personal journey, right? Because I left my career and job and certain life, right, in the pandemic to do this work. So and it's the name of the company, right? P20 stands for Post 2020. So it's a really important part of my messaging, which is that look, the world has changed, and we need to too.
And therefore leadership must change.
Yes, it starts with leaders. It starts with the people.
Exactly. Very good. Melina, let's go through each one of these versions and figure out what's a yes and what's a, maybe but needs to change. Exactly, like, okay, well, I'm not a coach, so let's take that out.
Mm-hmm.
It works, but it doesn't because of this reason, or
Right.
we're not talking enough about equipment, or we're not talking enough about the library, we're not talking about any of it. So let's just kind of get into the yes, maybe no part of it, and
Yep.
that will help me shape a version 5, which then should, if we're all doing our jobs right, and that means me, should then incorporate the pushback that we got at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just tell me and I'll talk to you, but I'll also do the highlighting.
Okay. So in version 1, so the 4 proactive people, I don't think speaks to who we're talking about, right? Like I said, because I think that would be more appropriate if I were doing coaching, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So, because who I'm selling to are these are leaders or people who are, trying to roll something out in their organization. So that doesn't feel like it fits. And same with work well with others. Like I think that would resonate more with like an empathy coach or coach that's doing like communication coaching or something. So that doesn't feel like it matches exactly what we're doing. Rapidly changing world, yes. And I would say a changed world. So it's changed and rapidly changing, I think, is the important point to get to the urgency that, look, this is already changed. Like we are in a different world and it's going to continue changing. So what are you doing to be ready for that and be adapted to that?
That's a great dramatic flair.
I mean, I do think there's an urgency to this work, and I want to relay that without leading with the fear tactics of you're going to get sued if you don't do this.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. I mean, it really comes down to you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a hard sell.
Yeah.
It's a hard sell when the people you're saying you're doing it wrong to are the people who make buying decisions.
Right.
So it's just kind of a tough sell, but
yeah.
So this we like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So we like that. So if you skip down to where it says total inclusion environmental advocate, I think we have to be really careful with the term environmental because it immediately makes people think sustainability and ESG, which is not, I don't do the E.
Yeah.
So,
I had workplace here originally.
Yeah. It might, I mean, culture is probably more what we're talking about. Like workplace culture, inclusive workplaces. I'm constantly using the terms inclusive and innovative, which I think go hand in hand. Yeah, and
I like advocate for you a lot.
I do too. I think that's
because I do think there aren't a lot of people that I come to that I'm like, you are a champion, you are a Caesar, you are leading the charge. You are, though, because, well, at least what I heard from is like, look, I'll carry the burden, I'll do the emotional labor, I'll pull the wagon, so that y'all can just do what you need to do, and that's advocacy, in my opinion.
I agree. And I want to add the point that I feel when I think about my advocacy work, I feel like I'm not just advocating for all of us who have been or are underrepresented, as you talk about in the fourth vision statement. Like, yes, I'm absolutely advocating for all of us in those groups. But there's a large part of my advocacy work that is advocating for the leaders and the future leaders who don't know what to do. And I'm advocating for them because a lot of times they don't know what to do because they're not properly resourced. And so I feel like I'm advocating for both in providing tools, resources, strategies, because I want to and need to support everybody who is underrepresented. And we need to support the leaders who want to and need to do better, but don't know how.
That's really important.
It is, I think. And I don't know how to relay that succinctly.
Well, that's my job. I did add a little bit here, kind of in version 1 while you were talking, of like help them know what to do, have better resources, and better, this is kind of clunky, but and lead companies in conversations with team spirit. Like,
yeah. The conversation that's different for me, and you talked about it in the beginning, that I'm not coming at it with a "you're doing this wrong." I think a big differentiator for me in my conversations with leaders is I'm coming at it with, who gave you the tool? You haven't been given the tools and the resources. You've been expected to do this thing and champion these missions that you don't know what to do because you haven't been properly resourced.
And in addition to that, and I'll bring in work that I have with another client who is an executive leadership coach around neuroscience. In addition to that, her kind of like hill she dies on, which I think is really relevant here, is the old leadership styles came out of a particular place and time in the world, and they're the ones who taught you how to be a leader. And their modality, you did?
I just wrote last night a piece about this, about most of our leadership and management training or approaches and strategies we've been taught come from the 1940s.
Correct.
It's a little absurd, but
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Her tagline that we came up with is you can't change the world with the way you've always done it.
I love that. Mine is the old rules don't apply is one of the things I talk about a lot.
That's very good. We could definitely use that. Okay, let's keep moving. And I'm hearing your feedback and putting kind of it in the mental bank for version 5. So if there's something, but this is exactly the work, Melina, like go through it one by one. What's missing? What's here? What do we need to change? What didn't I get? Because let's be real. I discovered you for 90 minutes, intentionally not doing any other research on purpose.
Yeah.
It's this session here fine tunes all of that. So, keep it moving, mama. Keep it moving.
All right.
Okay. We're here. This is the last thing I highlighted.
Yeah, it's a workplace until inclusion who delivers customized, learning platforms and leading edge solutions that bring forth insights, approaches, and tools to help them know what to do, have better resources. Lead companies and conversations. Team spirit as a doesn't resonate with me. Mm-hmm. It feels a little high school cheerleader squad. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
It's all good.
Dynamic decision making. I think yes, I like that. And the last line there, empathy and relatability, feels to me more like leadership coaching. Mm-hmm. Right? Because what I'm doing is I'm equipping I give insights. And so I bring in a lot of like research and data points and everything, but then I say, this is how you apply it. And I'm giving sort of concrete, practical strategies. I think that's a big differentiator, at least what my clients have told me, is that I'm not just talking about the why of DEI, but I'm talking about how you actually turn this information into practical things that you do on a daily basis. How do you run your meetings? How do you run your interview process? What words are you using in your job descriptions? It's very practical, applicable, I think is something I hear a lot from my clients.
Go ahead, girl.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I just kind of added a little bit in here again. It's my job to wordsmith it. Yeah. But if that helps bring any of these to life,
Yeah.
Like delivers customized learning platforms and leading edge solutions. To me, I'm like, okay, I've seen that like 100,000 million
Right.
bajillion times. So I'm not like loving that. Whoops.
But the difference is, and here's a feedback that I get a lot from potential clients that I talk to. They're like, oh, well, we're working with this one platform, working this thing, but we don't really feel like we're getting information, but we're not really told like what to do with it. So that's a huge differentiator for me as and my huge focus is skip the insights if you want, but make sure you read like this is what it means for you. This is what you should do. And so I've really focused my work on equipping. That's why I use the word equipping so often, because I'm not just enlightening. I'm equipping. Like that's my huge focus. I'm putting the tools in your hand for you to make the change happen. So if it's like practical tools and resources, practical strategies, equipping, I think there's something around that feels right to me. And, here's another thing. Another differentiator that I've gotten feedback from clients on is that I make the work really approachable. I take overwhelming, complex themes and topics. I break it down in a way that's comfortable and totally like graspable. And that is not very common in this space, from what my clients tell me.
How do you do that?
I think that one is my manner, my approach. That people, the feedback I get, because I do a lot of one-on-one interviews with folks through my culture audits, is they don't feel judged. They feel very comfortable in talking to me. So I think it's, my manner, my approach. I think it's in the way that I relay information. So I talk, I'm very diplomatic in how I talk about things. I don't judge. I don't just present. For example, I'll give you a concrete example. I'm doing a piece right now on, the business case for DEI, or understanding the DEI debate. So I address a lot of very basic questions without making people feel judged for not knowing the answer. And I address all sides, and I'm addressing the nuances of things. These are the main arguments that people have against DEI. Like, we need to understand those. These are the arguments against it. These are the arguments for it. And I'm very rarely saying this is the right thing to do and this is the wrong thing to do, because this space is very nuanced. So I think it's just, the feedback I get is that it's my approach that makes people feel comfortable. And the way that I relate information is I really make it accessible. I'm very careful with the words that I use. So I won't use words that are very like academic or really specific. So things like intersectionality, which are important, but instead of saying the term intersectionality, I would just break it down and say, we need to think about how this impacts both, people of different genders, but also people of different races, right? So I don't use too much jargon, or I try really hard not to.
I think that's super important, because nothing, I think, shuts people down to the work than feeling like they're either being talked down to or intellectualized. And that's not helpful. No. I think accessibility is really, really important.
Yes.
And not just in terms of like, I can get into the office without having to navigate stairs. Yeah. Or someone understands my time blindness and doesn't dock me for being late. Considering I stay until 7:00 to make up for that, or just accessibility in a learning environment as well as just a physical environment.
Yeah, and I think there's this other element. If I'm like going deep into why people feel comfortable with me on these topics, is I'm very open as a leader about not knowing things, right? So I think when you position yourself as not having all the answers and sort of you're putting yourself on the same level as your clients and your peers and the people you're talking to, saying, hey, we're all in this together. I'm taking on the role of of helping us move forward, but we're all moving forward together. You know, I'm the advocate here for let's keep going. Let's keep going. I found some new tools. I found some new ideas.
As long as you're open to it, client,
Right.
I will never stop working to help you develop the leadership skills that make you effective without alienating everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's kind of what's coming to mind.
It's the other thing I would say is that's challenging with my approach is that traditionally DEI and leadership development have been treated as two distinct things.
Yeah.
And what I'm advocating for is they are completely combined. You cannot be a leader in the post-2020 workplace without having a solid handle on inclusion, equity, diversity. So this is a pivotal part of it, right? And we need leaders in DEI. So, I mean, it's all very, very interwoven. And so I'm trying to advocate for both together.
Makes a lot of sense. Back in your like post 2020 leadership space.
Yeah.
Okay. I've made some change. I'm continuing to make changes as you continue to talk to me in kind of positioning statements as we go along. Yeah. I did kind of add and put in yellow here, know what to do, applications, have better resources, data, and lead companies in conversations, language. I put that in yellow because I think that could use some wordsmithing, but it could be something here. Do you agree?
Yes. And the other thing, and sorry, I'm talking so much because this is really helpful for me in fleshing out my ideas. But the other thing that seems to resonate with clients a lot is me saying, look, part of my job is creating leaders that are super cutting edge and helping you position your organization as on the cutting edge.
Yes, exactly. That's why I kind of went here with like attracting talent and culture and creating something that creating a place people want to work. That's like the TLDR.
Yeah. And I want to help you make your organization seen within your sector or industry as they are really on the forefront. They are really doing innovative stuff. Wow. They are, because that's just not great for their clients and their revenue. It's great for talent, attraction, for retention. And that speaks to leaders. I mean, it speaks to a leader's ego, right? Ego, not in a bad way, but as a leader of a company or organization, you're trying to position that organization as the best and the brightest in whatever your space is. And this is a really, really underappreciated strategy to do that.
Exactly. And also, that your loyalty will be there if it's not a pain in the ass to work there.
Right.
So no matter how cool the work is, no matter how awesome the logo is, or the pizza party, or the kegerator, or how much of an impact you're making, or how much money you're raising, if it is a pain in the ass to work there, because no one acknowledges the importance of change, or is willing to grow, or is willing to expand their mind map, then then you probably have a shelf life of 2 years.
You made me, this is totally off topic, but you made me want to write a piece called Pizza Party and the Patriarchy.
Girl, come on, I'll co-author that with you.
That's really good. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
That's what this is working. If we could just focus the cameras right now for any kind of audience who's out there wondering why this content even matters, that's why it matters. So you have an idea of like, how am I going to start framing this conversation in a way that's really going to land with my people?
Yeah.
How do I develop content around that? I'm not saying you couldn't have come up with this idea 20 minutes ago before we started recording, but this is what this work does, is loosens all of that and gives you some gives you something actionable. Okay, now I know what my next piece is going to be. Now I know what my next topic is going to be. Now I know I'm going to talk to people. So thank you for illustrating that. All right, let's keep going. Okay, I have done a little bit of work in version 2 as you talk to me.
Yeah.
Let's keep going with green, red, and yellow.
Okay, so I like dynamic and forward-thinking leadership teams or leaders or business, but yes.
All of this?
Organizational optimizers I don't love. I like, for forward-thinking leadership teams. I don't know why organizational optimize. I don't think that sort of language would resonate with my client base or like my potential client base. Who, or maybe it's like who see the value or see the intimate link between, leadership and DEI or something like that. One term that's getting thrown around a lot is inclusive leadership. So maybe it's something like forward-thinking leaders who know that see the value in inclusive leadership or understand the importance of inclusive leadership, something like that.
I struggle with inclusive because to me, the subtext is a dominant culture. I struggle with it. I don't know what the answer is. And I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm just saying, to me, the word inclusive includes an other. So I just struggle with that word.
Yeah, it's not totally clear. I would agree.
It seems like dominant culture centered. Like, come on. And that's the tough part about writing for this work. Is inclusive exclusive by nature?
Well, I think when I step back, I think about all this work being about innovative leadership. And for me, innovative leadership, forward-thinking leadership is by its nature thinking about inclusion, thinking about diversity and leading diverse teams and with diverse ideas and diverse approaches. And it's about, the idea of company culture. It's like fostering the cultures that lead to growth and innovation, which you have there, right? Like company culture commensurate with growth. And I think with commensurate, it's more of like, it's not just commensurate with it. It's what drives it. It's what leads to it. It's what facilitates it, right?
Nice.
But yeah, I like growth, innovation, resilience, agility. Right? Because I think
I think we have agile here somewhere.
Yeah, I remember seeing it somewhere.
We'll look for it.
Yeah. Maybe it's towards the bottom. Agility, I think. Yeah, I remember it being like the last line, maybe.
Well, adroitness. But we could. I actually was like, I love adroitness because I think it's so target, but not everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a little too sophisticated for my people.
We can easily change that to agility.
Yeah. I think agility speaks to them. Coming from a very corporate, fast-moving business world, I think agility would resonate with them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's your adaptability as well.
Yeah. I've always loved the term agile because I think, I like agile a lot.
I like that too. I'm going to add it up here. Especially since we're using a because at this one.
Yeah. Executive leadership, growth, and development facilitator, cross-cultural career. I feel like that's going to confuse people. I think it needs to be super simple. Like Melina Cordero is the workplace transformer. I don't know, something.
I mean, we have one here that you liked. So that's not, I mean, we can keep looking for things we like, but we do have something I think that you're like, okay, that is so straightforward and what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Okay. Perfect. Then if we go back, delivers learning strategies and leadership training to equip leaders with the accessible cultural. Completely impressed.
Competency. That's not completely my bad.
I guess I just struggle with it, wanting to make it more simple. Like this is, and it's not simple what I do, so it's really hard.
But that's okay. Just don't worry about how you're gonna. Don't worry about the final end. That's my job.
Okay.
Just tell me the things you like and the things that are a maybe and the things that are like gross, dude.
I like this idea of equipping leaders with the accessible, approachable tools they need to advocate for change or to lead change, right?
So let's take this out. So that's what you just said.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that's a yes.
Yeah.
What about magnetizing talents and tenacity so we can all work together without frictions or fictions? Is there anything in here?
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's like it doesn't do much.
Yeah.
Like it's not hitting
I
me.
actually love working together without frictions or fictions, but I don't think that's in positioning.
Yeah. I like working together without frictions, but yeah. 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 I like other stuff more that we've highlighted.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll put a yellow here. Without frictions or fictions to me is awesome, but I could just be rolling around in the mud of my wordsmithery, which happens.
And I think another thing that, maybe missing this idea of a future, like looking forward. I tend to always end a lot of statements with the line of like, the world is changing, will you? Or like great leaders go there, will you? So this idea of like the future needs you, like like lean in kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to, with my work, create leaders, not just individual leaders, but companies who serve as examples and models of how to do and be better. I want to build more models, help position companies as great examples of how to do this work. So in version 3, I don't exclusively work with nonprofits and impact organizations. And I would not say that all of the organizations I work with have a very overt, like many of them do, but not all have an overt, like social impact mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to limit myself to just those.
Yeah.
So the difference in the world probably wouldn't resonate with as many that are in the non-impact space. And then change management, I don't think I can claim because I think it's quite a specific, like there are, whole degrees in that. So it's not really my thing.
Inclusivity and leadership strategist? Question mark.
Yeah, I like that actually. Hadn't seen it written that way before, but that makes sense to me. I like this term delivers. That feels like delivers. It feels like it goes well with equips. Like I equip and deliver. Executive managers and their teams. Yeah, that's important because I don't just work with leaders. By the way, the tools I build are for everybody. So I think that's a really important point that you make. Assessment tools going to generate growth by cultivating a culture of equality. I would say equity over equality.
Good point.
Accountability and access because because when the other word that comes up, and you had it in one of the other statements, is conversation, right? And I feel like that's a lot of what I do is I'm helping spark conversation, facilitate conversation, keep the conversation present. And that conversation is so intimidating and scary for so many people. So I wonder if conversation is a key word that, equipping you to have the conversations and lead the conversations almost.
Yeah. What do we have about leading conversations up here? Yeah. Lead companies in conversations.
Yeah.
Maybe we kind of want to put that back to green just on its own.
Yeah. We go back to 3. There was something just there. Oh, down to the last one we were looking at.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, sorry. I don't love the term payback. It feels very like, and maybe I don't understand the term payback. It just sounds very like masculine and sporty to me, which I try and move away from. Yeah, the result is progress, or the ROI. Yeah, something like that.
I like ROI against invest.
Yeah.
Because it really is an investment, not just financially, but also your own.
I agree. I like that term, invest. But yeah, I don't know. Jury is split in my head on highlighting uncomfortable, because even though that's a part of what I do, I don't know if I want to highlight that as like, because I mean, I think the second people see uncomfortable, they're going to think, oh, this is going to be uncomfortable, when everything I'm doing is about making it comfortable. So I don't know if I want to highlight that in the statement that we're going to get uncomfortable, even though that's what we might do. I want to lead with the fact that, no, this is approachable and I'm inviting you in, and you're going to enjoy it.
Well, fair. Then I would ask you if we had a word that we could put in there instead, because if we're going to use this, when you invest in what kind of conversations, the ROI is progress. Like, so when it says when you invest in uncomfortable conversations, it's like, okay, but it's worth it because you're going to make progress. There is a pain there. And I hear you. Like, I don't know if I want this in my positioning. That's fine. But I think we have something here with like, when you invest in blank, the result, the ROI is progress. I'd love to flesh that out.
It's a good question. I mean, I can talk around it, right? So I think too often leaders are avoiding the conversation because they're afraid of it. And so really part of it is just about having the conversation, but having the conversation around tough topics or challenging conversations, or, you know, really it's about leaning into these conversations.
It's probably, you probably don't want to see tough there either.
Yeah.
Give me a different word. What kind of conversations are they? If they're not tough, if they're not uncomfortable, what are they?
Critical, uncertain. I don't know. I don't know. It's unclear to me right now. I'd have to.
Is it crucial?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's alliterative.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't are we having them, or are we just
no, and yes, in when you invest in crucial conversation, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then in version 4,
before you go, there's one thing I just want to check in on. Is this anything guidance / gumption to generate growth, and is cultivating a culture of equity, accountability, and access something? Is this something?
I get it, and I think it is something, but it feels a little generic to me.
Okay.
Like it feels like anybody could be saying this.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I ask about it.
Yeah.
Is this something ? And that's why I gave you the little pep talk of like, I don't have an ego in the game. Yeah. I care about the position statement.
It's more accurate, like in other parts. I just don't have it top of mind right now, but I do feel like we get to it more.
Okay.
Yeah, in other areas. So
all right, cool. Okay, well, let's go down here to crazy version 4.
So it's not crazy. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
But I do think it positions me just for that I'm not speaking to everyone. I'm speaking primarily as an advocate to represented groups, which is not how I want to position myself. And this is something that I'm very, very cognizant of, because the research tells us that when you're a woman, in particular, when you're a woman, people assume that you're speaking to other women. So when a woman writes a book and it's a, female sounding name, men don't buy the book. Men don't read the book. So there are all these stats on how men read, majority books, podcasts, follow social media accounts that are by other men. And there's this unconscious assumption that happens that because I'm a woman, I'm talking about gender, or because I'm a woman, I'm working with other women or underrepresented groups. So that's something we have to actively seek to combat. So that's my concern with version 4, is that we're speaking directly to a group, and it's going to make all the other folks, like, and in particular, let's say white male leaders, or anybody that doesn't identify with the groups we have listed, is like, oh, well, she's not speaking to me. I am speaking.
Yeah, I hear you completely. That's why this is version 4. Like I said, I don't normally put a version 4, but I really wanted to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could use it if you wanted to for something very specific. Like, this is a book. This is a course for, like, this is a program. This is a mastermind. This is a workshop. In which, in this case, I am talking to these groups.
Yeah. I think that there is a place for this at some point in my business. I can definitely see that down the road. But for now, the other thing that I really am trying to do is move in this DEI work away from the solution is with us as individuals to the solution is really with changing the structures, right? So I don't want to be speaking to, let's say, for example, women and saying, here's what you need to do differently. You need to, lean in, have confidence, whatever. No, I'm sick of that conversation. The conversation needs to be leaders. Here are the policies and practices we need to change in our organization so that everyone can thrive.
Is there anything here at all that you want to hold on to for right now? And the answer could be no. Is it like smash stigma and glass ceilings? Is it shut down toxicity and trauma? Is it change conversations at work, which I actually think could be a yes? Is it?
I like change conversations at work. Or, maybe thinking about what we were talking about above, like cutting edge conversations, maybe.
I think we called them crucial
conversations. Yeah.
I like perspective is power a lot. And to me, that speaks to diversity, but it may just be words to you.
Yeah, it feels like words. Because that feels a little leadership coachy to me again. Like that feels like I would fit really well if I were speaking to leaders and saying I'm equipping leaders with coaching and tools, which I am in a way, but that's not my main.
Fair enough. Okay. Was there anything else in here that you feel like didn't get our attention or needs to be addressed?
No, I think that's great. I mean, there's a lot, made me think a lot. I don't know. I do not envy you having to go through this and come up with a Frankenstein that works.
I don't envy me either. My God. Okay, let's do it though. No, not at all. Let's do it though. So I'm not going to talk because I have to concentrate. So hang tight with me.
Okay.
For a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, just hang tight with me. I'm tempted to just press pause on the recording because, like, how interesting is me working, but also not because this is the process. So I think we're going to go with also not.
Okay.
Okay. So we know it is 4. Yep. Version 4. Okay, version 5. Awesome. So we know that we like this. It was 4. What, are you back in DC?
No, I am not in DC. It's nice and warm here.
You're in Mexico. All right. So do you think that agile, dynamic, future-oriented leadership teams need an attractive company culture that drives growth and innovation? Or do they need, where's 3? I lost 3. Nope. We don't need to be a great example. Okay. Sorry, Melina. Never mind.
Right.
I'm not talking anymore. Not talking any less. I'm not talking anymore. So this is going. this is going. You need what? You need to be equipped to thrive in a changed and rapidly changing world. Oh, audience at home, I hope you're loving this. Delivers even without friction now, it feels too negative to me.
Yeah. Like instead of talking about eliminating barriers, I like to talk about just creating teams that gel, that move forward, position it more as what you can achieve as opposed to what you're trying to change or avoid.
In conversations. Next time, tell us we can all work together without frictions. And dynamic decision making. Don't like this here. I don't like that. Training. For agile, dynamic, future-oriented leadership teams who need to be well equipped to thrive in a changed and rapidly changing world. As a post-2020 workplace leadership consultant and total, inclusive, and innovative. Ugh. It's too much.
What about just leadership consultant and advocate? And change advocate? I don't know. And inclusion advocate? I don't know.
Well, what do we have here before? Total, inclusive, and innovative workplace advocate. Ooh.
What is it? The total, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it came from, see, this is what happens when we're out of context.
Yeah.
These companies need to change. Leadership consultant and something advocate. Diversity?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Because that gets that word back in here for you.
Yeah, I like that.
And the crucial conversations they need to have to make better dynamic decisions, initiate change, and magnetize talent to a leading edge company culture that drives growth, innovation, and resilience, and delivers the learning environment, tools, and training to empower leaders with the accessible, approachable, inclusive leadership strategy. Because I don't love this because. Let's look at it. Because it's clunky, but we can trim it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In the first line, for agile, dynamic, future-oriented, so instead of leadership teams, would it make sense to say organizations? Because we don't really have that term. And my work is not just for leadership teams, right?
Yeah.
And this is very minute, but should it be want?
Every single time I do positioning, this comes up.
Okay.
And so I'm laughing just because it's like, there it is. The reason I say need and the reason I push for it is because nobody spends money on something they just want. And so the idea of like for agile, dynamic, and future-oriented organizations who want to be well equipped to thrive in a changed, rapidly changing world, I want that too. That sounds great. I need it because it's the only way that I can make better decisions, initiate change, and magnetize talent. This is something we need, so we're willing to invest in it. So when you want something like, I want a cheeseburger right now. Am I going to invest in a meat grinder? I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
So I think need is super important. Again, a positioning statement is an internal thing. We're never going to reproduce your positioning statement on the front of your website. So we're never going to be like, for blah, 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 who need this?
Yeah.
It's just this piece here almost never shows up like in front-facing copy. And that's why I advocate for it because I just,
that makes sense.
I want a hot summer bikini body. Am I going to invest in having crucial conversations in order to make that happen? Probably not.
Yeah.
So if I need it though, then I'm going to. So that's why I smile because like people always give me pushback on this want versus need, and that's my argument.
I'll take that. I'll take
great.
that.
Great.
So who need to be? It feels clunky to me. Who need to be well equipped to thrive in a changed right? So maybe
maybe this goes.
Yes, exactly. Who need to thrive or who need better tools to thrive? Whatever. Who need to thrive?
Well, they don't. Well, this is a great conversation. So let's unpack it a little bit. They don't need the tools like they need the change. So what they really need is the change. This piece here in positioning, what's the ultimate goal? It's not that I need a person who will do this or I need the tools who will help me. The ultimate goal is I need to thrive in a changed and rapidly changing world.
Yeah.
So keeping in mind, this isn't a lecture. This is me just like pontificating about it.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate need. That need to thrive in a changed and rapidly changing world. Case closed. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Okay. Is it enough? Is it about thriving? Is that the ultimate thing for you? Question mark.
The issue I have, the issue that is coming up for me is that wouldn't every single organization read that and say, yeah, that's us? Like everybody needs to thrive.
Yeah, and I would argue that everybody needs post 2020 workplace leadership.
I would argue that as well. So if that's
So
the case, then
if you want to thrive, you're going to have to get these other things.
yeah.
If you're going to thrive some other way.
Is it move forward? Is it advance? Is it need to grow?
Keep talking.
Because thrive feels a little leadership coachy to me.
Uh-huh.
And so what word or term is going to really resonate more? Is it who need to advance, who need to grow, who need to evolve?
I think evolve is strong.
There we go.
Advance to me and growth are like capitalism words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are.
So need to evolve.
Yeah.
Or adapt.
Yeah, I was thinking adapt too. But does it evolve? I think it's evolve or adapt. It's one of those two.
Something that's interesting about, and we could even consider this / evolve, adapt, that would work to me. Something that's interesting to me about the word of adapt is that this might be the way that you can make your crossover. Like, if you'll remember from our episode last week, like in comments, the struggle was I come from commercial real estate, which is like really change averse. They don't want to. So evolve might not be something that the major of your network might be like, evolve, okay, you hippie. Like, keep it moving.
Right.
But still,
okay. I'm still on adapt.
But I have to adapt.
Yeah.
I don't have any choice. I have to adapt. And is this the way?
Yeah.
We would argue it is the way.
Yeah.
So there's something to me, I think, either about adapt or evolve, adapt, which would kind of bridge both, like, your new client, ideal target client who already is a true believer.
Gets it.
Versus your old client set, which are not true believers.
Right.
And require a lot of education.
Yeah. Yep.
Two or in? Are we adapting to?
Two, I think.
I don't know, Melina. I'm going to give a little pushback on that one. Because this is reactive. This is inclusive.
Okay. I see that.
So I'm going to argue for in.
I'll go with in.
Okay, cool. For agile, dynamic, future-oriented organizations that need to evolve / adapt in a changed and rapidly changing world. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. That S was a little long. What's giving you pause?
I'm just looking at the next sentence, which is the post 2020, and wondering whether that should be in that first part of the phrase, like in a rapidly changing post 2020 world, or if it's better positioned later on. Because I think getting it out right away, that's my...
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with you. Now, does this, if we just are here, is this...
Yes.
Have integrity from the first F to the comma?
Yes. I like that.
Okay, awesome. Now, Melina Cordero is the workplace leadership consultant and diversity advocate.
It feels too long to me. Because I think people already struggle to understand this work. And so the more complicated I make my title, the just more confused they're going to stay.
I'm just up here to see if there's anything that's easier.
I feel like I'm changing the workplace, right? So it's like workplace change. I don't know.
Change?
So workplace.
Transformation?
Yeah, I like that.
That's a word that's going to feel familiar to your new clients.
Is the workplace transformation... I like advisor over consultant. I don't know if that's just a personal thing. And what about the word partner? Workplace transformation partner and diversity advocate.
Is it advisor or advocate? Or is it a slash?
I don't know if you can be a diversity like what's a diversity advisor?
Oh, do it. I advise you to do it. Yeah, advocate, I think, is the word.
I like
for
advocate
sure.
there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So then my issue with the next half of it is we're essentially saying that the main thing I do is I lead companies in conversations. That feels super abstract to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we should bring the more concrete stuff up ahead before the conversation piece.
Mm-hmm. And so is that where we're going back to assessment tools and guidance?
Yeah, the more concrete. Like, let's get that out of the way first.
Learning.
What
Okay.
I deliver. Yeah.
Yep. Is it learning strategies and leadership training? Is it again with assessments, tools, and guidance? Is it insights, approaches, and tools? Is it custom learning platforms and leading edge solutions?
It's a learning platform, it's tools, and it's practical guidance. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Where are we? Down here. Customized, bespoke, one of a kind, unique.
Custom, it's like customized resource, something, customized resource hubs. Yeah, I like that. Customized resource hubs or customized learning. I don't know, it's customized solution. And tool, like practical tools or something.
Oops. That's not helpful. I don't love practical tools. I wish we had something other than practical.
Applicable. Applicable insights, because I mean, I like the term insights, but I like making it clear that it's.
Is there tools? Are there really tools like in there?
Well, maybe the whole thing is who delivers customized learning platforms, resources, hubs, and actionable insights that leaders can actually use, or something like that.
We haven't done leaders yet, so that's nice.
Yeah, that leaders can actually use. And that gets across the point that I'm not just talking abstractly about these concepts.
Okay. Now to lead companies in crucial conversations, dynamic decisions.
Can we replace leads with guides? Or because we have a lot of lead. Or helps companies navigate. We haven't used navigate. Yeah, I like that. Helps companies navigate the, and then what you have after.
The crucial conversations, dynamic decisions. I don't want dynamic. I want some other word. Especially since we have dynamic up here.
Impactful, innovative.
What kind of decisions do they have to make?
Data-driven. Bold.
That's nice. That gets your personality in here for me.
There we go.
Navigate crucial conversations, make bold decisions. Are we navigating crucial conversations, bold decisions, and change? I'm trying to get parallel construction here.
Yeah.
Make bold decisions. And
generate.
Is it have the courage to or no?
I feel that that's a little like overdone.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Generate.
And I think maybe it's just and initiate change.
Yeah. Or drive change or model change. What about model change? Because we talked about that
Ooh,
idea of
yeah.
like we're trying to position leaders here.
That's excellent.
I like that. Yeah, make bold decisions. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. We're gonna resource I was at least actually used to help companies navigate crucial conversations, make bold decisions, and model change.
Ooh, yes.
To
I don't
build.
think we need that.
You still want company culture in here, though, right?
Yeah. Or what about navigate the crucial conversations, make the bold decisions, and model the change that drives growth, innovation, and resilience? Could that work?
Do we still want company culture in here, though? Or no?
I mean, in theory, yes, but it feels like a super long sentence.
Well, yeah. Again, internal,
Yeah.
but I do like it to be tight. I don't like something that's just like long for long's sake, even though some people might argue. Looks at the camera.
Yeah.
The drives innovation and resilience and delivers. Oops, we already have that.
Yeah.
To empower leaders with accept. Nope, we don't need that at all.
Do we have agility? Do we want to replace resilience with agility? I forget if we used it up above or not.
Boy, it might be in our because, which we don't have yet.
Yeah, agile.
It's agile up here. Yep, exactly. And resilience. I think resilience is important when people are thinking about adapting.
Yeah.
Adapting. Like, okay, can we take the next pandemic? Can we take the next work from home movement? Can we take the next...
Would it be too clunky to add long-term or like sustainable resilience? Something that's like, we're in the long game, like you need to be able to build foundations and cultures that are like long-term investment.
How about here?
Ooh, I like that long game. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice because it's alliterative.
I like that.
Okay, great. And resilience to do what? Model the change and resilience. We could actually come to our because right now. Because we really filled that out. Mm-hmm. Because why?
I don't remember. What was our because?
We have 3 of them to choose from, and you have your own. We have perspective is power.
Final sort of.
Yeah, we have when you invest in crucial conversations, the ROI is progress, which is not great to me anymore. Your diversity is your agility. That's kind of interesting still. And then you have one, I think, that's you already use.
Great leaders go there. Great. I have great leaders go there. Will you? I have, great leadership. Well, we can't use that. I was going to say great leadership matters, but that is way too political. The world. Oh, I have the world is changing. Will you?
Yeah, we have that already.
We already have that.
Don't think about, and it's fine. Don't think about what you already have or what we've already kind of put out there. Why? You tell me. Don't even look at the screen.
Because if you don't do this, you're not going to survive. I mean, because first of all, if you want to change the world, we got to change our workplaces because, better workplaces, better organizations start with better leaders. Because better leaders make better workplaces, better leaders make better organization, something like that.
Is it better leaders? Who actually drives long game growth, innovation, and resilience? Who does that?
Well, it's people, right? It's all the people. And so I think part of it is we're saying you need to invest in your people and resource your people if you want your organization to grow and thrive. Invest in your people.
Is it because your brand is your people?
I think I'm saying invest in learning for your people, invest in resourcing your people, invest in, Because if I say invest in your people, it feels a little bit HR-y to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying invest in invest in the tools, equip your people.
Are we back to just curious? With this one here, something along this lines. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna draw.
I think that's the one that represents it best of the ones we have written.
I'm not loving it though.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of investing. What am I investing in?
Are we investing in progress?
Yeah, when you invest in progress or growth or learning, when you
I just
had a
want
line at one point
to
that
be
was,
alliterative, but
yeah.
it's not right.
Yeah, radical will turn some people off.
Mm-hmm. What is it then? What is the return?
I think the return is what we said just above: long game growth, innovation, and resilience. That's the return. Because basically properly resourced people result in better companies. Investing in your people is investing in your future.
Is the return in the resources?
No, you're investing in the resources.
Mm-hmm.
The return is the progress.
Oh.
But then resources just sounds really generic there. Like, what do we mean resources?
So what are we investing
I feel like it's
in?
learning. When you invest in learning, yeah, because we're saying don't shy away from this, lean in, learn. When you invest in learning, the return is progress.
It's close, but I'm just like not loving it yet.
Yeah, same. But I'm not sure.
Investing in learning.
But it's almost like learning is the start. Like learning is what drives, like it's the first step kind of thing. Like you have to start there. You can't do anything without learning. I don't know.
Yeah, because learning is.
I mean, the trade thing is learning is power, right? Which we're not going to say, but how could we say that in another way that's more unique?
Yeah, that's kind of like knowledge is power.
Right. That's learning, but is that a little too cliche?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Because knowledge is, I wonder if we could do a play on, a P word, knowledge is progress, or knowledge.
Is it progress though?
It seems too mild to end on.
Yeah, I agree.
So what about the word growth? Because the word growth, on the one hand, is very kind of capitalist growth, but there's also an element of growth that is in like personal growth, development. There's growth of nature. So it can go either way, and I'm not fully against the term growth.
Mm-hmm.
Because learning leads to growth, or learning generates growth, because growth starts with learning.
Closer. Is there any mindset in here, or is that too coachy?
Coachy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, does it start with you? I don't know. That's so cheesy.
Well, or your people. Growth starts with people.
Does it start with people, or does it start with understanding, or does it start with conversations, or?
I don't want to emphasize too much conversations because that makes it seem like I'm just facilitating workshops.
Yep. I'm going to drop this all down on one page, by the way, so we can kind of see it together instead of up and
I'm
down.
trying to move away from this abstract idea of like, we need to have the conversation. Like, yes, we do. But what I'm offering solutions wise is like the practical things to turn the conversation into action.
Ooh. I really like something into action.
Because that is my whole thing, right? We're talking about one of my differentiating factors is I'm giving you insights, but it's actionable insights. It's insights you can turn into action. And I'm teaching you how to take insights and convert it to action and sort of like catalyze it into action, right? Baguettes, I think, is too advanced for my audience. No offense again to my audience. I love it. I get it. I don't want to alienate anyone.
Well, let's kind of go up here to word hippo and see if we can get a different word other than baguettes. Because I think it's right in meaning.
Insights lead to insights drive action. Ooh, insights drive action.
Does it drive action or does it drive something else? I'm asking.
Or what? But what if I'm saying because if my whole thing is that insights, I'm turning insights into action. But insights don't just naturally become action. I am here to translate insights into action for you. That's one of my big differentiators. Because when you can turn insights into action, you drive. Whatever.
So is it? Yeah, I just want a different word other than baguettes or drives. It's like manifest, but I certainly don't want to use that. And also, we would need to change this from actionable up here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're actually could change this whole thing because we're saying that right down here, actually.
Yeah.
Insights drive action.
Tools instead, like
I don't really actually hate this down here. That sounds so lame. I'm just like, so this might be the best thing we have actually so far. Okay. Customized learning platforms, resource hubs, and
what? Sorry, I just got an idea. What about and resilience? Because wait, I just lost it. Because it's time to turn insights into action. At the end, because it's almost like a call to action, because it's time to turn insights into action, because that speaks so much to what my clients are always telling me is like, oh, we have all these insights, but we don't really know what to do with it. And there's a real frustration and like, how do we get there? So it's like time to turn insights into action.
One thing I really like, first of all, bravo, because that's awesome. And I really like it for a couple of reasons. One is because we call out post-2020 world, and that's a time. So you're going to reinforcing that as like, it's time.
Yes.
Turn.
You like that?
Insights. Yeah, I really do.
I really do. I like that it's time because it's a call to action at the end and like, let's go. Exactly.
And it's also, again, I'm not just giving you information. I'm not just like telling you how we're really kind of going back on like, it's not, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not just giving you the insights and then hoping you'll change your evil ways.
Yeah. 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 This feels great.
Let's hear it all in one. Whew, it was tough to get there. DI is really tough.
I know.
It's really hard because again, like even as our discussion around inclusion, like inclusion implies an other. Yeah. And the other is an in-group or an out-group. And there's something just kind of majority culture about inclusivity. So just even saying that word, like, it's really tough. Okay, let's hear it all. It's once more with feeling, as my dad used to say. For agile, dynamic, and future-oriented organizations that need to evolve/adapt in a changed and rapidly changing post-2020 world, Melina Cordero is the workplace transformation partner and diversity advocate who delivers customized learning platforms, resource hubs, and accessible tools that leaders can actually use to help companies navigate the crucial conversations, make the bold decisions, and model the change that drives long-term growth, innovation, and resilience, because it's time to turn insights into action.
I love it. I love it.
There's your data, there's your action, there's your equip, there's your dynamic. I love workplace transformation partner and diversity advocate. I'm feeling that so hard. You've got your really concrete things here of customized learning platforms, resource hubs, and accessible tools. You've got things leaders can actually use. You've got your crucial conversations, your bold decisions. You've got modeling the change. You have long-term growth, innovation, and resilience. We didn't have to talk about talent strategy. This looks great to me.
Yeah, I like it.
This looks great to me.
Yeah, it feels good.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. That was not easy.
It's not. And thank you for crawling through the glass with me, particularly as we're here, quasi pretending we're live, even though we're not, because it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
To just put this all out here and then just work through it together. So thank you for being so awesome and brave about that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm just going to kind of format this document a little bit better so we have you have something really beautiful to work with. Jeez. Okay. And move this. Stop. Come on, man. We're live, not live. I don't have time for this. Version 5. Keep it going. There we go. And now your messaging. If there's anything here that was worth holding on to, see what there is. See if there's anything you still love here. Okay, so we have all of this. And maybe that.
I like this idea of leading companies in conversations, which I feel like I could use elsewhere.
Yep. We have dynamic decision making. We have future-oriented teams. We have this.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have the other one.
Yep. Work together without frictions. Yep. And maybe fictions, which I actually love because I think that this work is unpacking fictions of
yes, false.
So and so are lazy. That's just how they are. And I'm talking about full groups of people, not just one person.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Nope. It's a lot of scraps on the table. The ROI is progress. That's great because we didn't use it. Version 4. I'm going to just put that kind of at the bottom of this so that you can go. Like I said, I think this could easily be a program or a master class or a lunch and learn or something that's geared towards these people.
Yeah.
I am going to take change conversations at work because I still think that's strong.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot more messaging you can add to this list. We already talked about that earlier. So this is a organic, living list. You can add to it and change it. You can have 3 things. You can have 17 things. I like your idea here was pizza parties and the patriarchy. And then just gross or whatever. So that's not really messaging, but maybe we'll just call that ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
And I'm so sorry. I have to drop in like 2 minutes. I have another call at the.
No, I really took an extra amount of your time. Let me stop sharing right now
Great.
and come back to you here in StreamYard. Do you feel good? How does this feel to you?
It feels great. It feels like a really great compass for me to guide me in a lot of the work that I'm doing now in this year, and visibility and a lot more writing. So I think it's fantastic and really difficult to get to. So thank you. And we did it very efficiently
We
given
did
the
it.
complexity of the topic.
Yeah, we did it. We did the thing. That's why Co-Creation Nation is the best.
Love it.
Melina, thank you for coming on the Stone Fruit Roll-Up today.
Thank you for
And
having
last
me.
week, this was so fun to just do something. Backs against the wall, completely exposed. Can you do the work or not? Question mark. I love it. So I'll, with a gracious adieu for your next thing, and we will go live with this on Thursday. So if you're watching live, feel free to add to the comments, and we will see you next time on the Stone Fruit Roll Up. Thanks,
Thank
Melina.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.